Welcome to the Godness Podcast, where we discuss conscious and uplifting topics to help us all along our spiritual journeys. My name is Brianna, and today we have our special guest here who has been here before, the wonderful Terrence. Terrence, I know a lot of people who already know you because you've been on the channel before, been on this podcast before. But for those of you who it's your first time meeting Terrence, could you just take a moment and introduce yourself?
Um, Hi. Now it's it's like a little child. Greetings. Hi. Um, I'm Terrence. If you don't, well, let me see. How can I say this? I advocate for. Well, I'm an artist or a visionary, and also mental health mentor, advocate. It's a lot of things that goes into it, energetically speaking. But other than that, um, I don't know. It's so
You do
many
so much. Yeah,
things.
you do so many things. Like
It's
he's a holistic teacher.
There we
He is a
go. That's
writer.
hmm
Yeah, he's a writer. He's an incredible
You might
artist, you
know it
guys.
better than me. You don't know. I'm just kidding.
He has some incredible pieces that are actually available on our website too. We're actually revamping it right now, but once this website is, once this podcast episode is uploaded, all that will be revamped, so you can check him out there. But yeah, he is incredible and multifaceted. So we're really, really excited to have him
Yeah,
back on. Um,
absolutely. I'm honored.
Happy podcast. Yes. Thank you so much for being here. So, today, everyone, we have a very meaningful topic. We are going to be discussing the boogeyman. Okay. Now, all of us have
Ooh.
heard, all of us have probably heard of the boogeyman, whether, in most cases from our childhood, right? It is something that we may have perceived to be scary, something that we did not want to ever come face to face with, right? And something that kind of kept us scared. Even sometimes your parents use the boogeyman gonna get you to try to scare you into doing, whatever you're supposed to be doing or to stop from doing something. So it is something that a lot of us have had experience with. I actually
Hmm.
want to look it up real quick while we're actually here and see what is the definition because I love a good
And
definition.
it's and the beauty of like going back to the introduction thing is with like what I'm resonating with right now is that all of us are so in the process of reclaiming our childhood innocence. Is to where it's like we're calling in these fragments of ourselves back, to where we're trying to recall and remember what it is that we're really here, truly here to do. So when you're like, introduce myself, it's like a little child. It's like, our imagination runs wild. It's like, I don't even know. I'm all these things.
I
So
know. And the
that's the
wonderful
beauty
thing
of it.
about a new day is like you kind of get to choose. Okay, what am I? Who am I? What am I today? Because that
Yes.
can change, and I think it's beautiful to always give yourself space to kind of continuously evolve and fall into whatever it is that you feel that you are in that moment. Like your
Absolutely.
script changes as you go, and that's wonderful. Okay, y'all. So I pulled up the boogeyman, the definition. Okay, this is what it says on Google. The boogeyman is a type of mythic creature used by adults to frighten children into good behavior.
Hmm.
Boogeymen have no specific appearance in conceptions. Their conceptions vary drastically by household and by culture, but they are most commonly depicted as masculine monsters that punish children for misbehavior.
Interesting. I wonder
Isn't
why masculine.
Well, I always, like, even when I'm thinking about like the boogeyman, like the picture
Oh, a
that I
big
have in
scary
my head,
man,
it's a
like
big scary
stature.
man. Yeah, something monstrous, and it
Dang.
has this very masculine like energy, scary big energy.
I wonder do I look like the boogeyman to some people. I'm for real. Like I was talking to my partner about it. I was like, you know, I think I said this recently on one of my videos. It's like, people's perception of, a man, a dark man with, natural hair, natural beard,
Hmm.
being 6'4", 6'5" stature, and
Yes.
in a muscular way, and then speaking as such. So it can be very like intimidating. So I'm
Intimidating.
like, dang, am I the boogie woogie man to somebody? You know how you
Yeah.
walk up and you be like, boo.
Yes, that's really a good point. That's really, really a good point. And I think that, black men in particular have experienced that where like they are seen in that way, sadly.
Wow. I love a
And it's also,
divine. Oh,
I know so many things come into just understanding and like, okay, that's you can kind of see where people get that from.
yeah.
Um, but I wanted us to Terrence and I were going back and forth yesterday talking about like, okay, what topic should we discuss? And as we were talking about it, I was just telling him that I had this conversation with my husband about the boogeyman, about how the boogeyman shows up in all of our lives and is actually can be described so much as like our shadow selves because the
Mm,
boogeyman itself is something that, like I said in the beginning, it's something that we don't want to come face to face with. It's something that's scary. It's like if you look under the bed, I don't want to look under the bed because the boogeyman might be there. But I feel like
mm,
in this time in particular, in space and time, and as a collective unit, a lot of us are having to address the boogeyman within ourselves, which is really just another way to say our shadow selves, right?
mm-hmm,
Um, the part of ourselves, the darkest part of ourselves, the part of ourselves that we don't want to deal with. And it's usually tied to some sort of trauma that we've experienced, in most cases in our childhood, right? Things that have been lingering in our minds, in our hearts, in our bodies that we have either just put to the side, have completely suppressed just so that we can be like functioning human beings. You know what I mean? Like sometimes you just like, I just need to be able to function. Like I cannot deal with that. So you just push it to the side and you continue to carry on. I know that's what it's been like for me. Just
mm-hmm,
pushing my deepest shadow to the side just so I could function and be Brianna, like be a vibrant human being. But in this space and time, it has been like either you're going to deal with it or it is going to ruin you. Like it's going to take you out in one way or another. So this has been a time where we have to deal with like the biggest issues in our lives, the biggest traumas in our lives, and that is the scariest thing, the thing that everybody's been running from this entire time. It's this time is like either you're going to deal with it or it's going to really, really hurt you in so many different ways. So I feel like we've been dealing with that as a collective. I know I personally have had to deal with it within the past couple of weeks. And Terrence, can you describe? I know both of us have listened to
mm-hmm.
Solare, about where
Solar
we
Raw. Yeah.
Solo Ra. Yes, she's so wonderful, you guys. If you want to check her out on YouTube, we'll put her information down in the description once we wrap up the video. But can you describe a little bit about like where we are from like an astrology standpoint?
Okay. And I do not proclaim to be an expert, by the way. For the no, I'm
Yeah,
just kidding.
we're totally
No,
summing up from Solara. Yeah.
yeah. So a lot of things that is resonating now. We have a lot of planets, which is connected to a lot of energy that is really retrograding right now. And a lot of people get the confusion around retrogrades being something with a. Because I always tell people when you look at a battery, you see negative and positive on there. So that's a programming even to see something negative as a connotation of something bad happening.
Hmm.
Because when you look at a battery, negative and positive is on the same post. So when you put two negative signs together, that makes a positive. So that in itself represents the negative aspect. And see, this is what a lot of getting into the retrograde meaning. The negative actually is in a sense of like the feminine energy. The
Hmm.
positive is the masculine energy. So you need both. They work together hand in hand.
Hmm.
So what the retrograde is, in listening from an elder, the retrograde is almost like retrospect, or it's all your perception on it. So it's really a spiritual aspect. When a planet retrograde, that means it's more inward, it's more spiritual. When a planet goes direct, that means forward movement, that's physical.
Hmm.
So when it retrogrades, it's more of a spiritual thing. It's an inward thing. What is this teaching me? What is the lesson here that this planet is connecting me to? What do I need to learn?
Yeah.
So the positive aspect, when it goes direct, you take those lessons or what you receive and you apply it. See,
Yeah.
that's where knowledge and wisdom comes in. It's just
Yeah.
like, again, wisdom, naturally women are pullers.
Mhm.
And that's why you see, if I'm going to depth about it, the yoni is shaped the way it is. It's like a downward triangle.
Mhm.
Because naturally women pull and men push.
Mhm. Yeah.
So that's why it's always a push pull thing. It's a emotional logic perspective in a way. Because emotions, what do we know? Typically come from, in the area where it's in the region of the stomach, intuition, in the body. We have an emotional body. When we're more logical, we're more practical with things. That's more coming from, you know, in the head area, the crown area. So
Mhm.
a lot of this, we both, again, it's a balance with energy. So even getting into that, the way with certain planets now, there are retrograding. What is this teaching? What am I willing to learn about myself? What is this? For one, I know we're in Leo season. Leo season rules the heart.
Mhm.
So the heart chakra is one of the most vital things that the ancients spoke about because through the heart and through love is one of the highest vibrations. This is how we center ourselves because the heart chakra is in the middle.
Mhm.
So what a lot of is happening right now for a lot of us is that a lot of um, relationships, unions with ourselves, you and I, union. A lot of these lessons is teaching us more about ourselves, the God within, the source within. Reconnecting with ourselves. So when these negative things or when these things happen, is really, can we see the lesson in it?
Yes,
Can we see
exactly.
the lesson? And so in that lesson, do we embrace it without judgment and then allow ourselves to be a student again? Because what we're doing now, I tell people when I'm speaking, the student listens. Then when you're speaking, I'm the student. So it's
Mhm.
like, are we able to still, learn through it all, no matter what it is that we're experiencing? So, and this is how you learn the shadow aspect of who you are, and then you also learn the evolved version of who you are. But you have to be willing to face those greatest, you know, fears of who you are. You have to be willing to face that shadow. You have to be willing to look at yourself, you know. So with everything that's going on, again, Leo rules the heart. We're in Leo season. So Leo is the energy of like front and center. Like,
Mhm.
am I the main character in my life? A lot of people don't know this because they're so codependent or dependent externally,
Mhm.
for things rather than internal or being interdependent. So a lot of people are in this place right now where a lot of relationships, dynamics, or certain things are under review. And
Yeah.
what you do when you review, you go over a test, you go over something, you're like, okay, let me skim across this. And it's just like a rearview mirror.
Yeah.
You have to be willing to drive your own car. Is someone else driving your life? Is someone else in the in the driver's seat and you in the passenger seat? And
Mhm.
then even if that, and that's a saying like giving your power away, but um it's a difference if source is in control of your car.
Mhm.
Some may call it the creator. But you know that you're in the driver's seat, there's a much responsibility that comes with that.
Yeah.
Because
Mhm.
whoever is with you in your life upon your journey, you have just as much as responsibility for your well-being and the well-being of others.
Yes. That's really, no, you laid that out really, really good. Thank you so much for that. Thank you for describing that. And one thing I want to talk about too, when we're addressing this and how, Leo is all about the heart and about the truth and about us really seeing ourselves, is that this whole boogeyman topic in this entire season that we're in, it's not to scare us. It's really to help us address, what's happening so that we can actually ascend, so we can
Mm-hmm.
move forward if we choose to. But it is always, everything is always a choice. So you get to choose, do I want to stay with the boogeyman? Do I want to stay in fear of the boogeyman? I described it to my husband as we were discussing this. It was like, you know the boogeyman has so much power because we give it our energy. We give it
Mm-hmm.
our fear. We give it our life force. We give it life. We create it. So whatever you see and as the boogeyman in your head, that is just a picture of something that you've created yourself. It's a picture of your deepest, darkest self. But once you look under the bed and you touch the boogeyman, you look at the boogeyman, you say, I see you. I hear you. I accept you. I know what you are. Then the boogeyman starts to dissipate because it no longer has power. It has no choice but to heal because you address it with your energy, with your heart, with your love. And that removes all of the fear, all of the balled up energy that's been creating and manifesting and just balling up over all of this time. So really what we're all experiencing, this whole having to address our shadow self, having to address our boogeyman, is really to help us step into our highest timeline. It's to help us operate out of our heart chakras, to help us completely just ascend and grow from all of our experiences. So it's really a good thing. It's not, it can be
Absolutely.
scary. And there's definitely things to work through and heal through, and it's uncomfortable, but
It's
it's really
very
good.
scary.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking about, and that was great that you, like everything that you said. Another thing that's really under review right now is support system.
Mm,
And the reason this is so vital is that I always share with people like your first, and this is great on the boogeyman because your first boogeyman was your mom and father.
mhm. Yeah.
That boogeyman is a bully. That bully,
And even
that
in that,
boogie. Go
sorry,
ahead.
sorry to cut
Do
you
you
off, but
find
even
out another?
in that definition, when they were talking about how your parents use that too.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead. Sorry.
So that boogeyman could be the false narrative that your mother gave off, the
Hmm.
false narrative of a support system, the false narrative of even these structures that people put their life, their everything into. And so what the ascension in itself is is holding you accountable. This is source. This is divine mother and father coming in like that spiritual whooping. Like, hold
Hmm.
on, you thought this? I'm gonna show you. You thought this was life. You thought this was valuable. No, let me remove everything and everyone out of your life to show you that I chose you, or yeah, I like source chose you. You didn't choose this. So let me remove you and show you what divine value is, divine truth is. Can you live your truth? Can you go into that cocoon? Can you go into that dark place and face your boogeyman? And that
Hmm.
boogeyman being the very things that you've been running from your whole life.
Yeah.
The boogeyman is you.
Yeah.
These people are just versions of yourself. Can you
Hmm.
forgive yourself,
Yeah.
for, trying to outrun your own boogeyman, your own darkness, your own shadow?
Yeah.
And so I wrote a poem about that. Like, my first bully was my mother. And, it's not to point the finger, it's just like that was a boogeyman in my life.
Yeah. Hmm.
Those things haunted me. Um, my partner telling me like, hey, doing videos on, mental health, and you don't really think that these things are haunting you. This boogeyman thing, like, it's like, do I have the courage to speak about this?
Mm.
You have to face those voices inside of your head, those seeds that were planted that has been rotting, that you've been watering,
Yeah.
those things of, those issues, abandonment, a lot of things that this boogeyman reminds you of.
Yeah.
Like, remember, your mama said this. Remember, are you sure you want to do this? Those deep insecurities, those deep rooted wounds that we've been running from and no longer can. So think about when I say your support system is under review. Once you start standing up for you and speaking for yourself and reclaiming your crown of glory,
Mm.
that false support system that was built upon sand, you begin to see the sand.
Hmm.
So when all these things are removed and let go and dismantled,
Yeah.
you become friends with your boogeyman. Then you be like, come on, boogeyman, let's build this together.
Exactly.
You don't
Mm-hmm.
even need those people. You be like, "Come on, Boogeyman, we can build this upon truth."
Mm-hmm.
This is when your vibrations start to rise, your frequencies start to rise, and those very people who say they loved you, who value really wasn't in love because their false perception and
Mm-hmm.
distortion of what they thought love was begins to dismantle because you begin to stand in what is divine love and divine truth. So they begin to start to turn on you. And in
Mm-hmm.
reality, they're turning on themselves because when they turn on you, in reality, it's to avoid and run from their boogeyman.
Exactly. Because everybody is just like everyone is just perceiving a portion of themselves or perceiving you as they perceive themselves, basically, right? So when
Mm-hmm.
you start stepping into your light, when you address your boogeyman and decide, okay, we're going to be friends, we're going to heal, we're going to grow, and you step into that light, everything around you has to, on a vibrational energy level, has to match, right? So you're
There you
going to
go.
start seeing people for who they are, for their own shadows, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
when you're dealing with people, you're dealing with your perception of those people. So if you looked at this person as like, okay, this person loves me so much, they affirm me, like I feel safe and I feel blah 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 around them, and then you step into your light, and then that might blow up because you might realize, okay, this person is dealing with their own shadow, and then you have to address, okay, I was looking to this person for this part of myself. I was looking to this person for like affirmation of myself to affirm me. And now I realize that this person also has their own boogeyman. And now that I'm stepping into my light and can see myself, I can also see them. And
Mm-hmm.
now I have to realize I have to take my power back, call my power back in, and make sure that
Yes.
I can affirm myself first. And I am not looking outside of myself for
Yes.
that affirmation.
And
Okay.
that's one of the most challenging things that um like it you're we're talking about since birth. Since birth our lives have been, you talk about spiritual warfare. Since
Hmm.
birth our value system has been attacked because we
Yeah.
came in on love,
Hmm.
but the highest frequency is, or to be at peace and enlightenment, or even that authenticity. This is one of the highest frequencies. So
Yeah.
all of that has been attacked since we were children.
Yes.
Go ahead. You wanted to say that?
No, no, no. I'm listening.
Okay. So, and you got to talking about. I mean, you gotta. We gotta. As much as we don't want to see it, this is what the boogeyman is. The
Hmm.
boogeyman looks different for everyone.
Yeah.
Um, and that could be a lot of connected to a lot of childhood woundings. And you're talking about a society who preyed on these woundings.
Oh,
Oh,
let's get into the energy harvesting, child. Like
oh yeah.
literally, the matrix was created to feed off of your energy. You
Mm-hmm.
are this powerful creator. You come into this world vibrating at unconditional love, right? And then they start telling you, you need this person, you need that person, or you need this, or you need that to feel good, to be in love, to be a whole person, right? Meanwhile, energetically, you are creating all of these things. They're telling you that this is the way that the world is. And so in your mind, you start thinking this is the way that the world is. They tell you that you are in this class, you're poor, you're this, you're that, blah, 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 blah. And in your mind, you're actually creating it. But you're creating it because the programming, the thought was planted into your mind, not realizing that you are a God creating your own
Mm-hmm.
reality, allowing these people to these whatever these evil ass elitists, whatever they are, um literally doing this because they know how powerful you are, and they want your energy so bad. They want to harvest it, they want to create from it, and want to tell you how to create your own reality. And people just fall into like, okay, this is just the way it is, this is life, we've all been there, like, damn, this is just how it is, until you have an
And,
awakening, like,
and this is
yeah,
why we're here now.
yes, exactly.
This is why we're so sought after right now.
Yeah.
Because there's others that's looking for us, and they'll find us. And this is how it always been. I even give gratitude to the powers at work because
Oh
all
yeah.
these things were divinely orchestrated to now.
Yes.
And that's the beauty of it. Like, that's the beauty of being at the peace. Is that I laugh sometimes. I laugh in the face of it. I'm like, you know what, y'all did good. You know what, you thought you got me, but no.
Yeah.
It's like that's when and that's the thing about even the energy, like how you that came up, and that's that Leo energy because the lion, the roar, you're roaring, and see what's in the heart comes out of the mouth. So
Mm-hmm.
right now, this is why there's a polarity to everything. Everyone's not going to respond the way we would, by transmuting. You
Mm-hmm.
you can have the balance between the energy harvesting. But I look at myself like the Hulk. I was watching the Hulk the other day, and I was like, "Yo, hold on." I was like, "Hold on, he's green." They look at green as like a form of melanin in a way. So I'm like, "Hold on, what is this?" I was like, "Hold on, they make movies. This is about us." So one
Yeah.
thing about the Hulk, and then they were talking about gamma rays and all these energetic things and playing around and how he became who he was. And I was like, one thing he went through is childhood traumas.
Mm-hmm.
So when his dad re-entered his life, the memories immediately came up. That's when he became the Hulk.
Yeah.
The energy from the shadow, the boogeyman. His dad was his boogeyman because he saw his dad beat on his mother.
Mm-hmm.
And and in the movie, like his dad would be in there frantic fighting, and while the child would be in the other room still picking up on his energy and using the toys to bang them against each other like rah rah rah. So
Mm-hmm.
again, as he aged, these things don't go away
Yeah.
because energy. One thing about people got to realize is this: how powerful we are. Everything is energy.
Mm-hmm.
So if everything is energy, then when we leave this vessel or whatever, you cannot destroy energy. So in me watching the Hulk, I realized how he was emotionally imbalanced. And I watched that because his father, which he became, um, like looped through that. And so through that anger, he became something that he was afraid of
Yes.
until he learned to master it, until he learned to balance his shadow, which is the boogeyman aspect of who he was. He honored both of them. And then I saw that even in itself is like, this is how you're seeing society. And again, how you say, how people are, learning now how much they have been so focused externally on things to where they don't know who they are without it, whether it be money, all these things that, again, what really has value if you don't know your value?
Yeah.
So we're not taught the value of honoring our emotions, the value in being limitless, because to source and God, that's who we are. We're limitless. This is
Mm-hmm.
why the focus was to rob us of our imagination, how important it is to be around color, how important it is to feel vibrant,
Yeah.
inside and out. So, if you're talking about growing up in societal structures where all the walls are white, all the walls are this, and they're taking away and keeping people in a robotic mindset. Like, you learn the same, you learn the same. No, I didn't ever resonate with stuff like that.
Yeah.
So these places became my boogeyman.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Till
Yeah.
I was faced with it, but at the same time, the more we actually pull ourselves and where people say exit the matrix or whatever. The thing about it is that we're a part of it, only to come to that self realization that it's our, this lifetime to become sovereign. And sometimes that could be looked like individually or collectively. Sometimes you are meant to walk through doors without people. A lot of people want to bring everybody along, but you want to bring everybody along through your own your own selfish attachments to them.
Mm-hmm.
These titles, all these things with in source, that doesn't even matter, because what connects us energetically is something we don't see with the natural eye.
Mm-hmm.
So the beauty of all of this is why a lot of the veil is lifted and illusions are being shattered, because so people can really see that it's you. Leo season is that you are the main character. You are playing this role. Everyone else is playing a role, but you are the main character in this dialogue, in this script. You are here to rewrite your family lineage, your tribal lineage, your ancestral lineage. You are here to do that. No one else can do that for you. And some of the ones that are attacking you the most and have some of these things are the very ones who are avoiding their boogeyman, running from their shadow, refuse to see, to do the inner work. So in that, guess who are the most important ones now to focus on? Not only just you, but the youth.
Yes.
Because a lot of these adults and elders, whatever the term you want to use, is that they're not going to do it. Because we are the new elders.
Hmm.
We can't look to someone else to do it.
Yeah.
And this goes back to the value system. We are the new currency of the new world because
Yes.
our value is limitless, it's inward, it's abundant, it's prosperous. So once we grasp it and accept that, you why would you be surprised that things are dismantling around you?
Yeah.
Because obviously that's happening inward, so it no longer resonates with you. So why do we hold on so much? And that's attachment. You're
Hmm.
holding on and you're losing strength because you don't want to let go, and it's hurting you more than it's hurting them. And so that's what I tell people: liberation and freedom is not the same thing. Because everybody here, or everybody what they call in so-called America, say they're free, but we're seeing it right now. They're the most mental shackled people in the world.
Yes.
Because liberation of the heart is that by all means necessary. No fear. I'm sovereign. I'm
Hmm.
liberated. What?
Yeah.
That feels different when I say I am liberated.
I'm liberated. Yeah.
Liberated is a child that comes into this world that don't look to religion, that don't look to anything to be.
Hmm.
So,
I love that you addressed the when you gave the example of the Hulk and his father,
hmm
and addressing like how we are the new elders and how we really have to bring focus to the youth. So in in doing the work and addressing your shadow self and dealing with your boogeyman, healing from your boogeyman, it is first, right, so important to do it for you, for yourself. But understand that the energy that you've been carrying this entire time, it is a force of its own. Okay. So the energy does not lie. The energy just it lives. Okay. So if you are carrying energy that is harmful, that is triggered from like, and I'm gonna share my story, a little bit of what I was going through this past week to put this into perspective too. But when you are holding on to a lot of pent up energy, a lot of like trauma, that affects your lineage, that affects your household, your children. Even if
hmm
you're not talking about it, even if they're little and they don't quite understand it quite yet, but the energy does live and it does affect because it's there. Okay, so
absolutely.
for me, the past couple of weeks, I kept all of my trauma from like when I was 5 years old kept coming up. And from the
Mm.
time that I was 5 until I was like 12, my first sexual encounter was when I was 5 years old. Okay.
Oh.
And I was, uh, you know, molested by an older cousin. Okay. And this continued on for several years. And it was so intense because it was like that was the first time, but that wasn't the last time, and that wasn't the only person. And it was like happening on both sides of my family
Mm.
with boys and girls. And I had so much shame around this. I had so much guilt and just in complete disgust. And the disgust honestly was within the acts themselves, but also it was mostly just like me being disgusted with myself. Me feeling
Mhm.
like, after the first time, like you didn't say anything, you didn't, blame myself, like, okay, you didn't say anything, you let it keep going on. At some point, you kind of expected it to happen. And it was just like almost like you felt like myself personally as a child, I almost felt like this was just something that happened, that this was a part of everyone's experience. It wasn't until I have turned like 12 or 13 that I realized that everyone does not go through that. That is not a
Mhm.
part of everyone's story. That is not a part of everyone's, reality, right? Um, and I started putting up more boundaries as I got older to where that stuff, it stopped happening, right? Because I was just like, oh, this does not have to happen to me. Like I can stop this, um, on my own. But again, not talking to anyone about it or anything like that. Just kind of like maneuvering in a different way to where I was staying out of these places and without these people and things. Um,
Mhm.
and so I had so much shame around this, and it kept coming up for me the past like 2.5 weeks, just kept coming up. And every time it came up, your stomach just gets all disgusted, and it's just like you want to throw up. You really want to throw up because it's like, I don't want to deal with this. This is just too much. I've suppressed this for so long just so I could be Brianna, so that I could just like function and try to like be my best self.
Mhm.
So as it kept coming up, I was like, okay, it's time. It's time to address this because it got to the point where it was just like becoming bigger and bigger. Like the energy was just balling up, balling up, balling up. And I really had to talk to myself like, I don't want this to be a part of you know, my inner makeup. Like I don't want this to be like this whole the shame and the disgust with myself. I don't want to hold on to that energy. And the only way for me to heal from this is to actually address it, to no longer put it down at the bottom and suppress it. I need to finally like do what is required in order to heal. And so I've talked about how I've done healing sessions on the podcast before. I work with a wonderful lady. Her name is Somway, and she's incredible. And so as these thoughts were coming up, I was like, okay, I can reach out to her and, do a session with her. I was really, really nervous because I have never talked about these things before in depth, like really like laying it all out on the table. And that's what I did with her. And she literally helped me process like over 10 years of sexual trauma and helped me
Mm.
understand how, from an energetic standpoint, how I was calling different people and different situations into my life unconsciously because my
Mm.
energy was simply living. So you attract other people with sexual trauma
Yeah.
because
Whew. Wow.
your energy is sexual trauma. And
Yeah.
so even if you perceive this person as like, oh, this person fills me up, this person gives me affirmation, oh, this person makes me feel loved, at the core of it, when you really start dealing with yourself, you see what actually brought you to that person on an energetic level. And
Mm.
if you are seeing like negative situations come up in your life too, like a lot of people go through a lot of like dysfunctional relationships and things like that. And at the core of it, we really have to ask ourselves, why do I keep repeating this same pattern? Why, on an energetic level, am I attracting these people? Because you're just attracting yourself. Okay. Your life, the way that we live life is through our own perception. We can only perceive people from our own standpoint and from our own energy. And so yeah, so I was able to just sit down with her and work through all of this. And after the session, y'all, when I tell you, I went in there feeling like the whole entire world was on my shoulders because I had to talk about something that I really didn't want to talk about.
Mm.
And once I left the session, I felt as light as a feather. And that's the best way that I can describe it because I literally worked through over 10 years of sexual trauma in about an hour and like 90 minutes by being completely honest, talking about everything that came up in my mind,
Yeah.
everything. To be honest, you guys, you have to be honest about everything that you're actually feeling, experiencing, what's coming up for you. The only way for it to get out is for it to come up. You got to let it come up and flow out. We are energetic beings, okay? We're so powerful,
Mm-hmm.
so amazing, so creative, and we can move. This energy can be moved, it can be transmuted, it can be healed, right? Your
So
energy is
many
not
ways.
so many ways. This is the way that I went, but there's so many ways to really heal. But whatever is coming up for you, this is a season for whatever is coming up for you. You have to choose whether you are going to be honest with yourself or whether you are going to sit in the mess, sit in the energy that has been depleting you and hurting you. And understand too, for me as a mother, I had to ask myself, do I want this sexual breaking generational curses and being the mother to my children that I've always wanted to be? I realized that this was something, even though they're small, they're, my oldest is 3, almost 4, my youngest is, she just turned 2. And even though they're small, I'm looking at them, I'm like, the first time I was sexually abused that I can remember was at 5 years old. They're not that far from where I was, you
Yeah.
know? And you really have to think about that.
This
And
is great. Ugh, keep going. I
I
don't
was
mean to
like,
interrupt. This is beautiful.
I don't want that energy around them. Even though I'm not saying anything about it or doing anything about it or whatever, I hadn't taken the time to really heal from it. And so I'm like, on an energetic level, I don't want this energy around my children, period.
Mm-hmm.
And the only way to remove it is to remove it from myself.
Wow,
And
this is amazing.
and to shift
Hmm.
it for myself. And
Yes.
as I came out of that session feeling light as a feather, I knew that the job was done. I knew that I showed up for myself first, but that I also healed my children, that I also healed my lineage, that I also
Yes.
healed
You better say that. I'm
multiple,
finna clap.
multiple,
I
that I
shade.
also healed multiple lineages
For
because
real.
with all that came with forgiveness and release. And the forgiveness,
Yes.
honestly, y'all, was mostly for myself because I never really held things against the people who, because even though like these were like older cousins and stuff or whatever, it's like I always understood that they were not that far from me. They were like a few years older than me. So in order for you to do that to me, someone did that to you. And I
You better
always
say it.
understood that. And
That's a
I don't know
spirit.
how. Exactly. It's a spirit. And it's just like, traveling around like, oh, there's another one. Oh, there's another
Mm-hmm.
one I can get. Oh, there's another one I can get.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized that they were just that the energy has to go somewhere. And that's another thing.
It
What is
cannot be
there
destroyed.
cannot be destroyed. And if you do not heal it and transmute it, it will just fester until it finds a avenue to release itself. And that's just energy, period. That's just
Yeah.
physics. That's just how everything
Ooh.
works.
This is amazing. This is so
So this
don't let
was
me interrupt.
most
I'm just celebrating
oh
over
no,
here
you're fine.
because
This was the most difficult thing, you guys, that I had to deal with my
and 10
entire
is a
life.
completion, and which is breaks down to a 1, which is a new beginning. So congratulations on everything.
Thank you.
Oh God,
Thank
I
you.
just want to say more, but keep going. Like what?
No, but
This why we do it. Y'all don't.
yes.
If you,
And this is
oh my God, oh,
yeah. This
this
is
is
why it was
so.
so important to come and talk about this because I know that I've seen people address their boogeyman, address their shadow selves, and I've seen people who are like running away from it. And like the what is it? The difference basically, right? It's
Hmm.
so huge. Like there are drastic changes happening. There are quantum leaps happening, and people are choosing
Absolutely.
which side are you going to jump on. Are you going to jump
Hmm.
off this way, or are you going to jump off that way? But either way you jump, it's going to be drastic. That's just
Yeah,
it is
it's
like
gonna
that's
be emotional. It's been a lot of stuff going on. It's like it don't even got to make sense. I think that's what beats people up. Stop beating yourself up. Sometimes emotions just come.
ah yes,
You're talking about stuff we've been holding on for generations. Y'all don't know how deep this go. This shit is deep. It's like
yeah,
I tell people, when you look at the tree, the deeper the roots.
yeah, exactly.
Like that was beautiful. That I was over here reflecting on everything. Like I was giving gratitude because I've been naturally doing this. I've been meeting people
Hmm.
through that. through that energy of that sexual trauma.
Yeah.
And I was, and the beauty of it now is like even certain sisters and people, men, like, and I tell people there is no shame and guilt for just being authentic and
Mm,
realizing like why you were doing what you were doing, because you're meeting these same people who also went through the same thing.
mm-hmm.
People
Yeah.
telling them eventually, because you naturally at this vibration, which you really, when you're at this vibration or high frequency, even though you still might be in that dark place of still doing things through a certain trauma, there's a polarity. That person may
Mm-hmm.
still be vulnerable and come out and tell you what they went through.
Yeah.
And at the time, you might not be aware of what they're saying, but then as you do the generational curse breaking, the inner work, you're realizing that, wow, I was in this energy.
Yeah.
And that's so amazing. I just want to say I appreciate all that you are for sharing that, to have the courage that most people, women and men, who have been molested, who have been sexually abused, emotionally, mentally, physically, and y'all hearing it from two individuals. You know, even me having a partner who experienced it and trying to do my best to aid her through that. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes we don't even realize and it's important that you said that, because people co-create with people like this. But are they
Mm-hmm.
willing to heal through that with them?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
This is where you see the prostitution come. You know, the
Mm-hmm.
Jezebel spirit that people don't like to talk about, the incubus, succubus things that have been running rapidly through people's family until it stops with you, till it stops with
Yeah.
us.
Yeah.
And I've
Yeah.
been seeing that, you know, to where I
They've been
had to
through
let
some
go of
things.
the porn.
Yeah. I was just saying that they've been through some things.
Yeah, you talking about a partner, like we realizing like the stuff sitting down and talking about, oh, I had to let go of this porn addiction. Well, why did I have it?
Mm,
Why did I have this? Well,
yeah.
first of all, this was teaching me to devalue myself and women. This is me opening myself up to something that, why was I introduced to this? Where
Mm-hmm.
are these lustful urges coming from? Where did it begin? And once you go to the root cause of that, because source have a way to where it'll reveal you these things through your vision, your dreams, through your patterns of your
Absolutely.
partners, through everything, to where that boogeyman is that person who molested you.
Yeah.
That boogeyman can be that first person who abused you verbally, physically, mentally. But are you willing to forgive yourself for having to carry their burdens of what they did and realize that they were hurting? But you don't have to no longer carry their hurt. You don't have to no longer carry their burdens. See, this is what generational curse breaking is, and facing your shadow is when you're able to acknowledge the dysfunctionality in your family dynamic that you no longer will keep going.
Yeah.
That's one of the greatest, most gut wrenching decisions, where you have to let go and cut cords. And this is
Yeah.
a video that I had on my YouTube, that, you know, letting go, cutting cords, or letting go of those emotional attachments, because our first emotional way of becoming, and Solar Ra talks about this, is our emotional resonance is developed from generations before we even arrive here.
Mm,
You're talking about 7 generations prior. If you
yeah.
know, if we want to look at it that way, whether it be 1 or 2 generations, but you're talking about how emotionally things have followed us.
Yeah.
You're talking about an emotional, and this is how we bring things into the physical, tangible, material realm. It's
Mm-hmm.
from our emotion, because a lot of us are empaths and are emotional beings.
Yeah.
So if you don't have emotional security, or know what it is to be emotionally secure, or, you know, or balanced, or in tune, then you will create a reality from these traumatic places, these childhood traumas, these reoccurring loops of what you think your life is, and it isn't. So um that's what a lot of what people don't talk about, and it pisses me off. But at the same time, like, people don't want, this is what the divine father is. It
Mm-hmm.
represents the divine masculine. It's like, it's strict. It keeps everyone's grounded. Some of us
Mm-hmm.
need, everyone don't learn the same way or receive energy the same way.
Yeah.
You need that stern spiritual ass whooping.
Mm-hmm.
When you go, when you know, when I tell our women, like, you're learning to learn more about being in your femininity, not all, but you know, you're learning that's being restored in you as well as us, so we can, as the divine masculine, can rise in our divine masculine. We all have been affected by this distortion of what the father and mother represented,
Mm-hmm.
just so we can learn what the divine father and mother actually represent. Instead of, you ain't this, yada, 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 you got to
Yeah.
be this, you got to go work, you got to yada, yada. And not realizing it goes so far back to where when the father was removed, it's an energetic thing. We're
Yes.
healing the mothers, we're healing the daughters,
Mm.
we're healing lineages. When you, and it's beautiful when you spoke about how, and this, and all I can say is Ashe, because the ancestors are celebrating.
Mm-hmm.
And this is
Yeah.
why they don't want us to stay stagnant. Why would you want to keep living the same thing? Your ancestors, the ones that want the greater for your lineage,
Yeah.
do not want you to stay in the same place.
Yeah.
That's what the sacrifice was. It's for them to use the tools that they had, so now you can move forward and use the tools that you had to be a bridge for the generations, for the youth, for the star seeds that's coming after us.
Yes.
I don't have time to be playing with y'all. We healing over here. If you don't want to heal, adios finitos, toodaloo. Go do
Yes.
your own thing, but at the same
It's your
time,
choice. Yes.
yeah, these are the moments
Yeah.
where those that are on assignment and a mission to bring forth divine, to usher in divine love and divine truth.
Mm.
That's through uncomfortability in your comfortability.
Mm. Yes.
And don't nobody, and a lot of people I realize don't want their illusion to shattered. I didn't want mine. People coming along telling, well, you should do, you should. And then now I see the beauty and now how much my life from walking away,
Mm.
from moving forward, to no longer being in a dysfunctionality, to imbalance, to where I'm secure, I'm at peace, to where I can attract those who are in alignment with that and who want to vibrate on a higher awareness and frequency of truth and love and enlightenment, where I don't have to force it, where it could just be just like I'm speaking now, effortless, just like with like the wind that blows, what comes comes, I allow it. What goes goes, and I always affirm myself. I am at peace with what has happened, is happening, and will happen. No matter how uncomfortable it is, you don't know the force of that wave when it hits you. You don't know the current. This is how our emotions are.
Yeah.
It's like the ocean. There is no limitation on the power that we really have within. This is what the ascension and awakening is all about. Grand awakening globally, universally. This is happening in all cultures, creeds. So the divine feminine, the mother, can show us that this is bigger than just your color. This is energetic.
Mm-hmm.
The divine mother she represents, or the energy itself, because it's not just about a woman or a man, it's an energy that operates through everyone. You
Mm-hmm.
got to see the distortion before you can see the progression. You got to see the shadow before you can see the evolve. You
Yeah.
got to see the distorted and fucked up ways about what our women have experienced for me to even hold you accountable now. As a man who has been awakening through the pain of what I played a role in.
Mm.
That's where
Yeah.
accountability is. This is where the cosmic father comes in. Like, hold on, man. You can't say, and this is why you see this a trend now. Everybody wants to be, the conscious community and spiritual community, yada, 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 but don't nobody want to let people know the real reality. I'm not here to give you fantasy. You've been living in fantasy for too long. This is reality now. I'm finna give you
Mm-hmm.
your reality check.
Yes.
So
Yes.
why wouldn't I want the divine father to check me? See, the divine mother is that nurturing energy that embraces us. It's the ocean, taking care of all of our needs beyond measurable. See, our mothers and sisters didn't know that because they were disconnected when the father was removed. See, the father was removed and she was forced to be in a position where, this is all women, But originally going to the melanated woman, she was forced to be in a position, and it's not to say she wasn't, because the matriarchal is first. Let's make that very clear.
Mm-hmm.
So she was the natural leader before anyone.
Yep.
So the restoration is that I, being operating in this energy, I don't have an issue at all for women to be, I would prefer certain women that honor both, to see the distortion in the feminine and masculine ways to bring forth a divine truth and divine love and to enlighten others. And if they're called to be in leadership,
Mm-hmm.
I say, because we need both men and women to hold each other accountable. We need partnership like that.
The balance, yes.
That, like, yeah, like it's not always meant for man, no, because see, that was a distortion. See, the
Mm-hmm.
distortion first happened in the matriarchal too. It was overthrown by the patriarchal. Now the matriarchal is being restored. So what you think is going to happen? There are a select few men that are being called the warriors for mama. Then you will have women who will aid them, who will also be their support. And in that, it's not about ego and competition. It's not about division. It's about oneness. It's about partnership. And that
Mm-hmm.
partnership is with your spirit and your flesh. That
Yes.
uni, that union, everybody, oh, divine unions, twin flame, oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, but you, your first everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
People forget that the child is really, the child and the mother, just as a father, works hand in hand with each other. It
Mm-hmm.
takes all of them to come together. It goes as deep as how the baby gives off these, with the placenta. The
Mm-hmm.
placenta is created before the embryo, but don't nobody want to have that discussion. That shows you right there how important energy and how everything is connected. How
Yes.
even when these stem cells that help heal the mother's womb, because she going through so much internally. So the baby is they helping each other. It's
Mm-hmm.
always been about teamwork. It's all, well, now I don't like the word work. It always been about creation
Mm-hmm.
and doing things hand in hand, or give.
Yes.
How do you say? I don't like to say take either, because no one has taken anything.
Give and
Um,
receive.
give and receive. I appreciate that, but that's the thing. The man, and how Trinity, to where you give, we receive. Whatever you give a woman, she's going to multiply.
Mm-hmm.
So you're talking about when you're talking about the shadow, this is what's coming out about everything right now. The boogeyman. You know who the
Yeah.
boogeyman has been for a lot of our women? Once they get past his illusion, they think men are the boogeyman to them. When you look at these societal structures, who has the powers at work was keeping you from what you need. And that's the man. We need each other because we're not separate from each other. That's the biggest illusion. So mama is here to remind us to see our own shadows, to see our own boogeyman. Because how
Yes.
you gonna look at me and say, you know, I'm, and that's just how energy is. It's like, as we're speaking, I give off an energy of a father talking to a daughter. And when you speak, this is what's being restored. In a partnership, there has to be a place where you feel secure. And that's the divine father. You feel secure. And that allows the daughter energy in you, which is the mother energy, to feel safe and secure.
Oh, yes. Mm-hmm.
So in that, it goes both ways.
Mm-hmm.
So if I don't have a spouse who speaks to me in a loving, nurturing way that reflects a divine mother, why would you expect that man to stay? Because that's still a little boy, the son. You are not to smother him, because if you put an S in front of mother, you are not to smother. This is the spell that has been broken. Is that's the restoration is happening inward. So when we face our shadow, we're restoring the sun
Mm-hmm.
within us all that has been smothered by the mother.
Mm-hmm.
See, that then it allows a father to come into his masculinity. Then it allows the mother to rest in her femininity.
Mm-hmm.
Then that brings forth the daughters, who are the mothers, the grandmothers, to be able to rest and embrace and bad, or how can I say, to just see themselves limitless as the ocean, the waters, the primordial waters, because that's where we come from.
Mm-hmm.
Prime is the beginning, the origins. So
Yes.
this is what Mama is, the primordial waters. You see what I'm saying? Like, you remember the movie Transformers?
Mm-hmm.
Prime, Optimus Prime.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So in reality, it's like, it's not so much of, you know, he was powerful on his own. And it's not so much of he, because he was just what he was. But how did he become even more powerful? Is when they work, when they connected together.
Yeah.
That's when he becomes Optimus Prime. He
Yeah.
was just Prime, but he became Optimus Prime. You know, when they all, and so this is what now, if we don't feel connected within and connected to source, how are we going to connect outwardly?
Absolutely.
So the beauty of all this is now that in reconnecting to the divine mother, this allows the divine father to rise and to
Mm-hmm.
stand forth, because at one point in time, if the distorted father didn't protect the women, well, there has to be accountability on our mothers, that they also played a role in that. This goes, everyone has to realize we all have played a role.
Absolutely.
I'm
Yeah.
not here to play with people. Like, we all, like, this is, I'm just, I get fired up about this. This would be the energy I'll be carrying, but it pisses me off when I tell people,
No.
y'all, I'm tired of seeing the podcasters pointing the finger, yada, 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 yada. Y'all look like little kids don't even do that. What do little kids do when something, oh, I got an owie, or something happens? They run to who? Their mama. They run to their father. And sometimes, let me show you how powerful the divine mother is that, and I know it's different for everyone, but and I need to share this with people, is that once you do the inner work, and this is for mothers who and sisters that do not have their mother present physically. This does not exclude that energy, that feminine energy won't show up in man or woman. There are women that are willing to embrace you as their daughters. This goes for
Absolutely.
men too. And I'm seeing it right here firsthand with this sister right here. You know, there are some things you don't, when you don't question the divine, watch how things show up. Watch how there you feel when it comes. Trust that intuition. Because we
Mm-hmm.
also have wombs just like y'all have wombs. We also carry feminine energy. A man can give off feminine energy as well, because we have a balance between that.
Of
That's
course.
why
Yeah.
a lot of us, astrologically, when you're dealing with natal charts, I carry a lot of water. So I learned that a lot of that water energy is because that was a part of my transformation into what I was coming into, which is, you have your natal chart and then you have your progress chart. So if a lot of you are feeling stuck, look at your progress chart. Your progress chart is showing you the energy you need to be moving in, moving forward. There's a lot of stuff out there, but
You have to show me how to do that.
yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. I had to show my partner, because I came to the realization, we have similar signs in the progress chart. So
Mm.
it's meant for us to even meet,
Mm-hmm.
so that we can expand. Because that progress is when you're feeling stagnant and stuck. I came across, and I don't question the divine, because that's the thing with feminine energy is, you can't. Why would you question the feminine energy when it's always ever changing?
Yeah.
The masculine is just simply like the conclusion in a way, but it's nothing that is really concluding. It's just like a end point, or something that reminds us of what actually is, in a way. See it for what it is. So so going back to the progress chart, I learned a lot of stuff, and it resonated so well. I was like, oh my gosh,
Mm-hmm.
what?
Mm-hmm.
So even in this retrograde, like, a lot of things that went into certain signs that I looked that are connected to my progress chart. And the thing about retrogrades is that if you're in tune and you've been doing the shadow work, you have nothing to be concerned about.
Mm-hmm.
because the lessons will be great. You would expect beautiful things. It looks different for everyone else, though. That's why
Yeah,
everyone else is on different levels of
that's a really
consciousness.
good
But in
point.
yeah, but
I
in
want to point
all
that out real quick that like every lesson is not super, it's not painful, and it doesn't
no,
have to be. It depends though, so I just want to point that out.
well, the pain is there for the gain, and this is what the Divine Mother is here to restore us all for. Is to remind us. I tell people, your pain, what connects us all. If we look at all our lives, look past colorism, and hatred, or whatever it is, what connects us all? We all can relate to pain. Now is a moment to now we can all, depending on if you're who you're in alignment with, come with those, come together in inward with yourself, and then you'll come together with those who are in alignment with who want to gain, who want to expand what we're doing now. We're transmuting the pain.
Yeah.
But you speaking about what you went through. We're becoming alchemists, magicians. That's what's magical. When you see a child can cry and da 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 and get up and go color or go out there and act like nothing happened, that's magical.
Mm-hmm.
Because the
Yeah.
greatest intelligence of all is solutions.
Mm-hmm.
Find those who are solution based.
Yeah. That emotional intelligence, that just reminded me, my oldest daughter, one night I was putting her to bed, and she was just having a tantrum. She was just doing her thing, being herself. And she told me, she was like, "Mommy, don't touch me, don't touch me." And I was like, "Oh, that's rude. You shouldn't say that." And she starts talking to, like, she starts working it through. She's like, I don't want to be touched right now. She's like, "I'm sad. I'm tired. I'm sad." And she's like talking to herself, talking to herself. And then at the end of it, after like 5 minutes passed, she was like, "I'm sorry, mom." I didn't say anything to her. I just sat there next to her bed, and she's like, "I'm sorry, mommy. I shouldn't have said that to you. I was feeling sad, and I'm ready to go to sleep now. I'm okay." I was like, "Do you feel better?" And she's like, "Yes, I feel much better. I'm ready to go to sleep now." She literally, so much emotional intelligence. She literally talked herself through the 10 phases of
Mm-hmm.
emotions and came to her own resolution and
Mm-hmm.
on her own. And I just sat there and just with my other child, holding her, trying to get them to sleep. I'm nursing my other one, and she just works through all of that while laying on her pillow. But yeah, having people who are ready to just who have emotional intelligence and are ready to move past, who don't want to just sit there and talk about the thing or fester
Yeah.
and sit in that sit in that energy and allow it to continuously grow, but who would like to move past those points. So.
Because and this is why and I probably just said on this video is the importance of we keep assuming that these are kids. These are powerful beings. Let
Mhm.
me make this very clear. These are advanced, intelligent beings. They are here just as well as we are here. They are guiding us. Some of them are even our spirit guides. Some of them are actually our protection because they naturally are at a higher frequency. So they're
Yeah.
sensitive to this world, this realm, just like we are. And they're trying to guide us out of and away from this BS.
Mm. Yeah, that's a really
You
good
know,
point.
like Whitney Houston, I would recommend this song to everyone. The greatest love of all. She said, I believe the children are our future. Teach them well, let them lead the way. What
Mm.
have we been in? These fools ain't been letting kids, they've been doing everything to destroy them.
Oh gosh, yes.
So when we surrender to that and let them, they teach us everything. We learning from them because
Yeah.
we were once them and then we will become an elder. It's just
Mm.
a cycle. That's
Yeah.
all this is. She said, I believe the children are our future. Teach them well, let them lead the way.
Mhm.
Show them what is it? Show them all the beauty they possess inside. Give them a
Mhm.
sense of pride, in all those things because that was her inner child singing. The greatest love of all.
Yeah.
When she's saying that, um, I decided long ago not to walk in anyone's shadow.
Mm.
She said in the song, the greatest love of all is within, loving herself.
Mhm.
But that song is
That song is super
always,
profound. Yeah.
it's so powerful, but so many people miss the message.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care if people get mad. We shouldn't be, kids don't get mad. I mean, we're teaching them as well as, like, you know how much is a challenge to be healing? trying to get back to reclaiming my innocence and not project on 2 hour kids,
Mhm.
not
Yeah.
to throw our stuff off on them. And then it's certain times I've caught myself and it hurt
Yeah.
me more than it hurt my princess. When
Yeah.
I'm, again, this 6'4", 6'5" guy, 200, 205 pounds, and my hands are huge, so hey baby, can you do this? It gets frustrating sometimes. My inner child gets frustrated because you're trying to guide them, and in a way, they have this petite, precious little body to where you want to be gentle. So I'm like, hold on. I'm being reminded, hey, be gentle. Because you're teaching her a love language. And not only the love language that you didn't receive, because I didn't receive a love language like that. I was physically abused. I was spanked. I was whooped from people's emotions, from their emotional insecurities and their pain, and
Yeah.
realizing now breaking a generational curse is not doing that.
Yeah.
Some may oppose, but I don't give a pluck,
I
because
know.
I will not do that, because first and foremost, she does not belong to me. I know
Mm.
my connection to source. She was given to me, and in that breaking that generational curse, I am here to do the very best in that moment that I can, from a place of love, to remind myself that not to beat myself up over the fact that I'm doing my very best. And she
Mhm.
knows I'm giving my very best.
Yeah.
I'm giving my very best. And see, that's no fucking manual that comes with being a guardian.
Mhm.
There's no manual. Oh, let me go
No.
read my script, get up every day. Okay, I gotta be a father. I gotta be this.
Yeah.
That's another episode. But there's no script. You're rewriting and breaking generational curses. You are rewriting. You are unlearning, relearning.
Mhm.
Every day is a challenge. Every day is a moment to do something new. Every day I have to get up and reaffirm myself that I am grateful. I am beautiful. I am divine. I am loved. I am
Yeah.
fearless. And in that, I have to embrace the world and be ready for whatever it is that comes.
Mhm.
Breathe through the shit at the same moment
Mhm.
and be and honor myself through that.
Yes.
Because there was a time that
Well,
I
yes.
I felt I was a little overly aggressive, and I felt it. It was so sense. I was like, hold on, this is my little sunflower. Let me approach her delicate. And her response, she even responded like, and that was her love language, like telling me like, Daddy, you, that was a little too aggressive, player.
Yeah.
Like, I ain't gonna hit you,
Mhm.
but at the same moment, I caught myself, and this is a thing that people don't realize. Like, this is powerful. We are teaching the generations. This is a being who already has all of her eggs. So spiritually, ancestrally, she is 2 in earth years, but timeless in the
Mm.
spiritual. She has all of her eggs that she will ever have. That makes her a mother. That makes her a grandmother. That makes her a great great grandmother. So the responsibility and even expressing, because she's mirroring back, she only knows love. She
Mhm.
only knows a higher frequency to only show me, to emit a love to me. That at some times where the healing, you as guardians, we can feel unworthy of that. And
Yeah.
have in the past, I felt unworthy of love.
Mm.
I felt unworthy of, because of my value system where I grew up in. I felt
Yeah.
unworthy to be loved by women, to be loved by even men, because I didn't have a father present, and the father that I had, or the guy that was present, was verbally, physically abusive to my mother. That was not a value system. That was nothing valuable in that. But that, okay, I will say what was valuable is the lesson in it.
Mhm.
The lesson to show me that I have a greater responsibility, because that little princess is a generation and a foundation for the universe. She's the foundation for the world. And
Yes.
this is what the responsibility as healers herbalists, or people, whatever you're doing holistically.
Yeah.
This is how vital it is to face your shadow work, because you, it's an honor to be her father. And she
Hmm.
chose me. It's an honor to have her mother. It's an honor to even be in the presence of women such as yourself, because you also are the foundation for our new world, for our new communities, for our new villages. And can you imagine the women that haven't been that they need to hear this? They need to see this,
Yeah.
because they have been projected on
Yeah.
and seen as that, like they're just a container for a baby. No, you're not. You're more than that. You've always been more
You
than
are
that.
infinite. Yes.
You're
Infinite.
you're 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 you are creation. You are a reflection of creation, from the physical to the trillions of cells that go all the way down to atoms, all the
Yeah.
way down. Like, you are something that, on a, I couldn't even put it into words. You are
Yeah.
truly magical.
Yes.
You are magical, and this is something that the powers that were, they're running now. We are the powers that be now.
Oh goodness. Yes. My husband's talking about how like they're just scattered right now. They have no idea what to do with themselves.
Yeah, and so
Yeah.
we don't need to try to make sense of this. It's all going to divinely pour into us. We are being poured.
Yes.
We are, the divine mother is embracing you.
You are
The
guided
divine
by
father,
source.
yes,
Yeah.
is allowing certain people to come into your life to discipline, to bring forth that men such as myself that are activators. When you do hear my voice, this is powerful. Women who do come in at a resonance where they don't even have to say nothing. You are the energy that comes in, that keeps us naturally watered,
Mhm.
that keeps us, you mothers and sisters, and even to the youth, because this video will be, you know, universal. But you are the delicate flowers, and we as men are like the trees, you know, and however you want to perceive it, we all just play a part in each other. We come from the same soil, love.
Mhm.
So right now, we're being cleansed of the impurities that's in the soil. The soils that's, that we all were affected by, the poisons from the television and the programming. We were being cleansed
Yeah.
in our womb space, in our minds and bodies. We're being cleansed. So when that's the purge right there. Stuff is coming up and you didn't even know. You have no idea who you are
Yeah.
until you realize, when source to the creator reveals to you who you are. And even in who you are, you're nothing. And even in nothing, you're everything.
Mhm. That was so beautifully put. Thank you. Wow. 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 That was so beautifully put. Thank you,
That's
Terrence.
mama speaking through me. I'm just
Yeah.
a vessel.
Big
I don't
Mama.
take no credit. We're not
Yes.
here to supposed to take credit for what?
Yeah.
Uh.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you to Source. Thank you, God, for this experience and time. Thank you for this moment in time. Thank you for all the clearing and all the healing that has taken place just through words, through energy, and through all of us showing up here together. On a collective level, this is such a beautiful time, right? To address our boogeymans who aren't just
Mm-hmm.
ourselves. And as we are doing that, we are honoring ourselves, right? Creating space for ourselves and not just healing ourselves, but also healing those around us, our children, our lineage, our friends, the collective on a greater scale. When you heal yourself, you create a light that goes out into the quantum field that literally expands and it grows and it positively affects the world, period. The universe, the universes, the worlds. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So it's first to do it for yourself, but understand that you are changing the world. You really are. You are changing the world. You are impacting the world in a positive way. So this is the time, and I'm so just honored to have been able to come and like share with you all my experience, to bring Terrence on here for us to have this this beautiful conversation, this transmission has been absolutely, it's been healing for me. And
It's
it's,
words ain't even enough.
yeah, it really is not. The
I'm
energy is
honored, man.
good.
Go have fun. Tell people
Yes.
like what?
Yes. You are so loved and supported on this
Yes.
journey. So it
I
might seem
love
scary.
y'all. We
Yes.
love you.
I love you. We love you. And you are guided. Your highest self, God, source, your loving and pure spiritual guides, your loving and pure ancestors, whatever you specifically feel
We just
connected.
getting started.
Yeah, we're just getting started. And where Godness is going, you guys, I'm just so happy that
It's
you're
limitless.
here. Yeah, it is
Yes,
very
we
much so.
appreciate y'all. Like you are
Yeah,
appreciated, you are received. Like
yeah.
I do
We're,
offer my oh go ahead.
oh, yes, go ahead. No.
I do offer my services too, for those that are experienced or going through some turbulent times with physical, sexual, mental, emotional abuse. My videos are very helpful. I do speak on that, and I think we'll probably share that right in the video.
Yeah,
But
yeah, we'll put it in the description.
in my email, like I said, these are very important moments where I can offer my mentorship and my services because right now the world is needing more, not just love, but we need more reality checks and we need more actuality,
Mm,
factuality, not
yeah,
this these little no well it's already happening. Like the seeds are being planted. These are the seeds that's being planted, and we the days are over of convincing. It's about really, are you ready to surrender? And in that surrenderance, it's you're going to have your ups and downs, or you're going to have your emotional roller coasters. This is transformative for everyone involved. This is like, and even most importantly, kids too. We have to realize that we're not just experiencing spiritual warfare. They also are picking up on our energies because we are around them. They also have their own auric and energy fields.
exactly.
And it's a beauty in just being a bridge right now. Like, I'm so honored to where it's like to even be where we are. Because some people, like, I see the progression to be where we are right now. We got to learn to give ourselves a pat on the back. Give yourself a pat
That's
on the
right.
back.
Give
Give
yourself a
yourself a clap.
mm,
Hug yourself
mm,
today. Hug yourself 5 minutes from now. Take a walk. Go tell yourself it's okay. And even if it's not okay, tell yourself it's not okay, but it will be okay.
mm,
You know what I'm saying? Cry, honor your emotions. Be you for you. Because a lot of us don't know what that looks like. I didn't know what it looked like. It took me almost 30 some years to even show up there for me again.
yeah,
And it's a challenge in that because every day I got to keep reminding myself, as much as the world has told us to help and lend a hand, what about giving ourselves a hand?
yeah. That's where it starts.
You know what I'm saying? Because in that giving and pouring into ourselves, we no longer pour from a dry and empty cup. We fill ourselves and we're able to keep that cycle going where we pour into ourselves, pour into others, teach them to pour into themselves and pour into ourselves. And through that, it becomes very uncomfortable. It becomes confrontational too. Because then when becomes that, you have to, sometimes you may have to distance yourself for them to see. Because that's what healing is as well. It's a very challenging, and I had to do it. And like I said, I offer my service to people who want to talk about and discuss these things because a lot of us want an ear to listen or someone to be communicative in a healthy way. This is
Yes.
what the world is needing right now. We are
Like I said,
holistic teachers.
when I was like, when the feelings kept coming up for me, the thoughts kept coming up for me for my past traumas, I immediately source like gave me the answer. Who can help me, right? So
Yeah.
we will put all of Terrence's information down below so that, for those of you who feel led, and connected and who need help in that area, we all need help. We all need someone, okay? What we have to do is honor ourselves by listening to what spirit is saying, listening to what's going on internally and addressing those things. That's how you honor yourself. And by honoring yourself, you just you can help everyone else around you too. But
Absolutely.
it has to start with you, and do what spirit is leading you to, guiding you to, because just surrender and let it go, let it be. It's all for your highest good. So allow yourself to feel, allow yourself to heal. This is the time to address the boogeyman. It's not scary, it's a part of you.
The
And
boogeyman is accountability.
mm.
Cause don't come over here thinking you ain't gonna. I'm gonna hold you accountable. Cause this is divine Father over here. Like we holding you accountable. Divine Mother will embrace you. I will embrace you, but the Divine Father will let you know. Like, look, hey, because that's discipline. That's the balance in everything,
Mhm.
and that's from a place of love. Cause I can lead you to the water, but I cannot make you drink.
Absolutely.
And a healer leads you to yourself. You know, it cannot just heal you, but a leader leads you to yourself. We have had false leaders who have led y'all away from yourself long enough.
Yeah. So we'll provide all the resources down in the description. Please let us know. Just share your stories with us as you are on your own healing journeys, as you're on your spiritual journey, as you're addressing your own boogeymans. Let us know how things are going for you and share those down in the comments below. We want to invite you to join the Godness community. You're already a part of the family, but we want to invite you to form
Yeah.
by going to godnesscommunity.com/join. Enter your email there. We have a special community platform. My mic. We have a special community platform coming soon where we'll be able to engage with each other on a daily basis, do meditations, talk, chat, all sorts of things, classes, therapy sessions, all sorts of things coming. So we're really excited. So as long as you are on that list, you'll be the first to know about all of those wonderful things coming to fruition. So we're so excited that you get to, that you are here with us on this journey. We love you all so much and are here just sharing with you and sending you love and light on your journeys. And until the next episode, you all, we'll talk to you.
Hey,
Blessings, friends.
peace, peace and blessings.